Picture this. It's late at night, I'm in bed, scrolling. One reel to the next, to the next. And before I know it, I've just watched tons of people's highly curated parts of their lives. Teenagers my age on vacation, traveling, clear skin, perfect makeup, all of it. It made me think, what am I doing with my life? Why does my life seem very boring compared to theirs? Am I behind? I'm missing out. Nothing bad happened, but it hurt me somewhere. I felt like my life got a little smaller and emptier. That second was a comparison. It snuck up on me before I even knew it. I was just there, watching reels like any other teenager before bed. But I figured that comparison sometimes feels automatic. It's like a switch that goes on and off, but you have zero control over it. Your brain naturally does it. Hi, my name is Yara Abdulhadi, and today I want to talk about the cost of comparison we don't usually notice. They always told us comparison is the thief of joy, but did we ever take a moment to actually understand how real that is? Comparison is basically measuring between two different things, or in this case, people. Understanding how comparison affects us allows us to reconsider estimating ourselves to someone else's standards. Many teens compare themselves all the time, whether it's on social media, in school, with their friends, and we began to normalize it and we think that it's harmless. However, psychology proves otherwise. Psychology research shows that our brains are naturally wired to compare, and during our teenage years, that effect is stronger. Constant comparisons slowly and quietly affect our confidence, self-esteem, and our happiness, especially in the years when we're beginning to understand who we are. When we compare, we start to notice the little things about ourselves that we don't like the way we look, the way we act, the way we talked. Later down the line, it makes us less confident in ourselves and in our appearance, which lowers self-esteem and sometimes could lead to depression and anxiety. All this because we start to view ourselves from the lens of others. Psychologists actually studied that natural instinct to compare, and they have a name for it. They call it the social comparison theory. This theory was proposed by psychologist Leon Festinger, and it discusses how humans have an innate drive to evaluate themselves in terms of opinions, abilities, and success by comparing themselves with others. Later on, Festinger and other famous psychologists like Thomas Willis discovered the three different types of comparisons. Upward comparison, which is when you compare yourself to people who you find better or more superior than you with the act of improving yourself. Downward comparison would be comparing yourself to people below you to make you feel better about yourself. However, lateral or horizontal comparison would be comparing yourself to people who you find in the same level as you. Say you got an average grade on a test. Upward comparison would be comparing yourself to a peer who got higher, with the intention of pushing yourself to do better next time. Downward comparison would be comparing yourself to a peer who got lower to make you feel better about your grade. However, lateral or horizontal comparison would be comparing yourself to a peer who got the same grade as you to make you feel safe and secure in your position. However, on a larger day-to-day scale, comparison is all around us and we normalized it. We walk out the door comparing our image to someone else. We walk into the gym comparing our ability to someone else. But little do we know that that comparison is slowly and quietly killing our confidence. Many would think that comparing ourselves is a product of influence, but it isn't. Influence is the ability to change someone's perspective or behavior. However, comparison and influence can still interact by what is called a comparison-driven influence, which is when we are influenced by groups because we compare ourselves to them. Comparison hits hardest during the teenage years. This is because in those years, the brain is still developing, which makes emotions have more control over us. This causes teenagers to become more sensitive to feedback and peer pressure, and they can sometimes change their own personality just to fit in or conform with societal norms. In the teenage stage of life, teens are greatly influenced by community, friends, celebrities, and social media. And as they are building their identity and self-worth, they start to subconsciously alter the way they talk, dress, and laugh, or even pursuing their hobbies just because of the fear of rejection from their peers. Down the line, this affects how they start to see themselves, building a self image based on what could please others instead of their own strengths and values. So, the next time you think about comparing yourself, turn it around. Instead of they're doing better than me, make it how can I be better than I was yesterday? Because comparison should never be the metric where you measure your self-worth and progress. Thank you.